Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing fantastic and that you're all having an absolutely incredible day. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. You should by now all know exactly what time it is. This has been a very peculiar year. We went through one of the weirdest, by far the weirdest bear market that we've probably ever gone through in the cryptocurrency space. Typically, we have if prices are going down, we typically see that it lasts for around 180, 210 days or something along those lines. But I think this was the first bear market that actually lasted for longer than like a year and a half. It was just something nonsensical. The last couple of weeks, I'll say months, have kind of set something into motion that I thought would take a lot longer. But now I'm not so sure anymore about a lot of the timing. So for those of you who haven't been keeping track, since the beginning of this year, Bitcoin has almost tripled in value. Now understand that this is actually quite unprecedented, as we typically, I've said it before, we typically do not see these kinds of movements in the cryptocurrency space price-wise until like a good 2 or 3 months before the halving. Halvings tend to be around April, May timeframe. Normally, by the time like February rolls around, you see like some price movements. We've moved up a bit, couple dollars here, couple percent there. Everyone's like, okay, here we go, it's getting ready. We have not seen a situation where Bitcoin's price is pumping this much, and a large amount of the factors behind it have to do, of course, with the ETFs, multiple S's behind it. The halving is there. We know it's going to happen, but it is not generating as much energy as this entire ETF thing that's going on. I assumed, and I've mentioned before, I assumed we'd have a brand new all-time high by around August, September, October of next year. That's typically the way that it ends up going. Summertime tends to be like, whee, prices go really, really high. We get to autumn and it's like, okay, here we go. Now the bull run begins. However, it looks like it might be coming a lot earlier than we actually expected. The anticipation of the ETFs, as it is now believed that we are going to get multiple at the exact same time, is causing everyone to completely lose their minds. A couple of days ago, we had news but this was 2 weeks ago, week ago, 10 days ago, doesn't matter, from the head of Grayscale, who said something along the lines of like, it was 10 years playing dress up and now we're ready for the real show, or something weird along those lines. We've had news 5 days ago that apparently there was a secret meeting between the US SEC, I think 6 members of BlackRock, and 3 members of the NASDAQ, which would be the exchange that they would be listed on. And I mentioned in that video, we've never gotten this far before. Like when it comes to ETFs, normally like the SEC will ask for public opinion and they shoot it down. Like it happens every single gosh darn time. But this time's very different, as everyone is relatively convinced that we are going to have, they're convinced that we as a market are going to have multiple Bitcoin ETFs by, I think, like the first 2 weeks of January. A lot of people I saw speculating around Christmas time. I don't know why you would ever conflate Gary Gensler with anything Santa-like, but sure, why not? The difference is this time is that it appears we might be around 9 months early when it comes to movements. So understand that when the halving does take place, and the rewards get cut in half, Bitcoin's price is also historically, as it has before, gone ballistic. The price completely loses its mind because people realize that they could have bought before, and then for some reason they buy when the price is a lot higher. The price predictions that we've been getting have been, the word's not even interesting anymore. They're like, remember I told you, and I've said before, it's very difficult because people misunderstand the fact that I am a crypto YouTuber, I have a news channel, but that like I can get excited about stuff because a lot of times I've seen, you know, you've seen me either get angry or go on rants or be really, really happy about stuff. And I see people in the comments or on Twitter being like, you got to control your emotions, TMI. It's like, dude, we could all be on the cusp of making an egregious amount of money. It's difficult for me to sit here and be like, well, nothing new happened today. No, like the last crazy price prediction that we got for Bitcoin was someone saying that they believe that by the mid 2025, it's going to be between $400,000 and $600,000. You expect me to sit here and be like, well, hopefully it goes to $1 million. No, like that's, if we get a oh my gosh, if we get a $400,000 Bitcoin in the next 18, 19 months, we then have a $11,000, $12,000 Ether. We have a $13, $14, $15 XRP. Cardano is also 11, 12, 13. Like you those numbers are insane. Like those, like it's complete. The altcoins would be even higher than that. They'd be way higher than that. So as centered as I try to stand on a lot of these things, I continuously read through the news, and it's one thing to see heavy pessimism within the market, as we have for a number of years. You've seen the videos. The tone was very different. The news that we got was very different. But now, like every single day, everyone's kind of like generally saying the exact same thing. It says, in a surprising twist from typical Bitcoin trends, Blockstream CEO Adam Back is confidently predicting a $100,000 Bitcoin before the halving even takes place. The amount of analysts I've seen talking about that we are going to hit, oh my gosh, this is nuts. I'm trying to calm myself down. The amount of analysts talking about that we could hit $50,000 to $55,000 before the end of this year is bananas. Like absolutely bananas. And keeping in mind, this is all happening before multiple or any ETFs actually even go through. The idea is that, and this has been echoed not just from like the wackiest people in the space, but like from actual analysts and like, you know, people who work on Wall Street and all these other big firms. They're expecting trillions of dollars to flood into our market in about a year. And that's not considering the other ETFs that would follow behind it. The other new mechanisms and ways of putting money inside of it. Like that's just solely based off of the hype from the ETFs. Not to mention, as we continue to hear about actual Bitcoin adoption from other countries who are also mining it and hoarding it as well. If we hit $100,000 per Bitcoin before the halving, that means by the end of next year, 150 to 170,000 is all but a given by the end of 2024. That means altcoins prices have gone completely insane. And even crazier is that multiple people are saying it. So one of the things that would normally happen around a bullish market momentum period within the space, there was always one person who gave like a pretty in the middle price prediction. There's always that one person who's like, Bitcoin's going to $5. And it's like, okay, buddy, go back to sleep. And then you have the other people, like usually one or two people who give like really high numbers. But the problem is that they're all giving really high numbers. And 100,000 used to be high, but it's not. Because the other way, the other pendulum swing is 600,000. Do you understand what a $600,000 per Bitcoin? You know how high the altcoins are? Oh boy, see, it's very difficult. It's impossible not to be excited with all of this stuff that's going on. This bold forecast has, of course, sparked a mixture of excitement and skepticism within the cryptocurrency community, highlighting the inherently unpredictable nature of the digital asset market. Bitcoin analyst Vijay Boyapati recently stirred discussion by suggesting Bitcoin could hit its previous all-time high before the halving as well. In response, Adam Back not only dismissed skepticism, but firmly stated his belief in Bitcoin reaching 100,000. That's insane, before the actual halving takes place. This stands out, challenging the usual price behavior of Bitcoin, which historically avoids surpassing prior cycle peaks before a halving. It's always months after. It's usually always summertime. We get really close to it. We end up getting past the number. Everyone loses their minds and start throwing tons of money into the market. The amount of coins, I'm doing like a Mr. Burns kind of things with my finger, and I don't know how I got there. The amount of coins that have been accumulated just from Bitcoin alone in the last year, you've seen the videos. I don't even have to go over the numbers, is staggering. Like, it is like egregiously, like the rich people are literally buying all the Bitcoin that's currently out there. It's not even a joke. 93% is held by people who have over a coin or more. And that was the news that we got like a month and a half ago. I assume the number is even higher because we continue to get news like this all the time. Even if it's not constantly omnipresent in all of the videos, I assume at some point you don't want to hear daily that kind of news, but it's definitely happening. The amount of accumulation of altcoins is also taking place. And this is why a lot of you might remember we had a lot of like supply shock news. People have been telling us since like February, they're like, there's not a lot of Bitcoin actually left out there. They're like, there's going to be like a huge shock when people are trying to get it. There was, oh gosh, what was it? I don't remember who it was. Oh, this is gonna destroy me. There was something a couple of months ago where someone basically was looking through the numbers and they estimated, based off of the coins that are lost and gone forever, the coins that are being purchased right now, that have been purchased, that are locked up or simply are not moving at all. They estimated that there's, I think, 1.2 million Bitcoin left, like actually actively circulating for the people around the rest of the world to be able to get. Think about that. The idea from this person was that if there really only are 1.2 million Bitcoin circulating, they said these institutions are going to get into the space, especially through ETFs and stuff like that. And they're going to be like, they're not going to be like, can I have one Bitcoin, please? They're going to be like, no, we're looking to buy 1,500 Bitcoin. We're looking to buy 16,000 Bitcoin. It's going to be huge, hefty numbers. And the guy was like, if you have 100 institutions who end up doing something like that, then there's nothing left for 8 billion other people on the planet. And that's before we even, oh my gosh, these numbers are nuts. That's before we even hit the 2028 halving. Before we hit the illustrious 2032 halving, where Bitcoin's expected to be over $1 million. I mean, listen, let's bring this on back for a second. If Bitcoin during this cycle goes to I'm not even going to 600. If Bitcoin goes to $400,000 in 2028, we're going to see a $1 to $1.2 million Bitcoin. I shudder to even think how high Bitcoin's price would be in 2032, 2036, and in 2040. My mind can't conceptualize those numbers right now. Anyway, didn't mean to spend so much time on this, but as you might have imagined, I'm a little bit surprised or excited. That's the word I wanted to use. As we've been going, like it's weird. I was telling my friend, we've been talking about this for 2 years, like literally like The bull market, the bull market, the bull market. Bitcoin has almost tripled this year. This year. We're not even at the halving. It's this year alone. We've tripled. That's insane. The word's exciting. In a recent Forbes publication from Forbes contributor, his name is Billy Bambro, the crypto market is said to be bracing for a seismic event with digital assets like XRP and Bitcoin at the center of the impact. Oh my gosh. Billy Brambo cited that Bitcoin has made a remarkable surge to it says 38,000 from around 15,000 last year. Bitcoin's value was 15,470 in November. Likewise, XRP has, I don't even know that. Okay, cool. Likewise, XRP has surged over 56% as well this year. Amid the praiseworthy performance of XRP and Bitcoin, the Forbes contributor noted a substantial influx of capital is about to hit the crypto market. The view is per a projection from the former New York Stock Exchange president Tom Farley. For those of you who don't know, Tom Farley, oh gosh, who was it? Anyway, the former, and I think also current, head of the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ years ago. This is what got me hyper bullish on Bitcoin years ago. The head of the New York Stock Exchange and the head of the NASDAQ both said, like weeks apart from each other, they were like, yeah, Bitcoin's probably going to be a world currency, and we're like really putting all of our weight behind it. That was when the New York Stock Exchange launched Bakkt, B-A-K-K-T, and tried to get into crypto trading and all the other stuff, but then the bear market happened, and they kind of like slid back into the shadows as far as like talking about their aspirations of launching all of this stuff. Per the disclosure, the crypto surge is expected to occur upon the approval of the much-awaited Bitcoin ETFs. Farley remarked concerning the Bitcoin ETFs, he said, money will flood into the industry with a Bitcoin ETF. It's just easy to buy it. People believe in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a great invention. It is a store of value. You understand what that means for someone from the New York Stock Exchange. Like, everyone rich is into crypto. I don't understand how anyone could be ignoring it at this point. Oh my gosh, you would not believe. I've seen so many, between me trying to talk nicely to my friends and let them understand this impending wave, this avalanche of money that's coming, just being like, hey, you want to throw in $5 into the market? Like, you don't want any Satoshis? Like, you don't want, not even one XRP, like just trying to, give them an understanding of what's happening. But I've learned a lot of people, it's not that they don't care about crypto or money. I think the perception that you can get rich and retire early is something that doesn't exist in the minds of a lot of people. And I don't know if you've ever had those conversations with people, and I would even advise you to avoid them, because I've seen before, when I mentioned to people, for those of you who don't know, I've been retired basically since 30. This is like a side project of mine, having this cryptocurrency channel. But telling people that you've retired early, they don't usually take it too well, because their perception is that you did something unthinkable. You did the impossible. And then when you explain to them, like, it really only takes like a couple of years of investing, maybe really risky investing in the cryptocurrency market, or maybe a good 10 years saving your money. You've seen those videos of the financial independence, retire early. I've seen so many of them. There was, multiple. There was one guy, he was like, yeah, for 10 years, I didn't buy anything new. I kept the same shoes. I kept the same hat. I kept the same coat. I did this. I did that. I saved money. I pinched money. And so blah, 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 blah. I moved into a studio. Like, I was in a 2-bedroom apartment. It was just me. I saved all this money, ended up buying 2 small apartments, and I'm retired. And I'm like, when you tell people that that's possible, it doesn't make sense to them. Like, they can't conceptualize it. So even when I've tried before in the past to tell friends and family to allocate small amounts into crypto, especially as prices are down, no one listens. There's one person who listens, but everyone else doesn't actually pay any attention. And the idea that whatever. I was gonna say like wow, English. The idea of time and like just time passing is always something that's fascinated me. Not the idea of getting older. I don't want it, but the idea of like, this will sound silly. I'm sure you must have seen this meme. There's a meme on Instagram or almost said Kit Kat or TikTok, wherever you get your news. And they, it's someone like crying, and it's like, I should have bought that house when I was 12 years old instead of like buying Pokemon cards, like that kind of thing. It fascinated me because I was like, imagine if I had kept my old Pokemon cards and never opened them. And then I was also like, I knew what stocks were. Like, imagine if me or like people in my family had bought stocks in LVMH or Apple or Microsoft or Amazon when I was 12, like, what a difference 10 years after that would have been. And then another 10 years, like it's a monstrous amount of money comparative to what some people currently have. So one of the generalized ideas is that we're going to see a huge flood of money. Understand that word. JUST. Just from the ETFs. That's not even incurring the madness that will take place upon the actual halving. If this is your first halving, get ready. You have no idea what's coming. I have a couple of people who I've like met through friends. Hello. And I try and explain to them, you know who you are. Hello, you. I try and explain to people like what's going to happen, and no one, like it's impossible to understand because it's literally 1 second from the next. You have, 1 second, and then 2 seconds later, the halving has taken place. The amount of Bitcoin being created has been cut in half and will be cut in half forever. If we're talking about these hundreds of thousands of dollars per Bitcoin just from an ETF, you have no idea what's going to happen when people realize that there's even less Bitcoin being made than there was before, and it'll always be this way until the next halving when it gets cut in half once again. For those of you who didn't see this news, I don't remember if we went over this news or what exactly has been going on, but the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges has continued to drop. The amount of tether being created has also been boosted up as well. We see that historically, whenever there is more tether being created, printed, minted, it's because whales behind the scenes are basically circling around cryptocurrency exchanges, waiting to kind of like bite, if that makes any sense. And they sell their tether for Bitcoin, take a whole bunch of coins off of the market. But the interesting part is that the amount of tether continues to increase. So they're literally at some point just going to like buy billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin with their tether, causing a further increase in the crunch. And I mean, it is a great time to be in the market. It is like, I cannot understate that. This is a very fascinating time for history, for money, for everything in general. But yeah, that's the whales keep buying, trillions of dollars flowing into the market. And what was the other one? Oh yeah. Bitcoin might hit $100,000 before the halving. I think I'd have a party. Like I feel like I'd actually like, and I'm not a party guy. I feel like I'd throw a party. Anyway, that's the, oh boy, here we go news. Yeah. Let's move on. Okay, all right, sure, why not news? Changpeng Zhao is once again in the news, and it's not for a reason that you think. Changpeng Zhao, the former CEO of Binance, has shared his audacious decision that propelled him into the spotlight of the digital asset revolution. Allegedly, a decade ago, Changpeng Zhao made a life-altering choice that defied conventional wisdom. He apparently quit his job, sold his house, and they say put his entire net worth into Bitcoin. Now, this is actual financial advice. I cannot and will not ever tell you what to do with your money, but gosh darn it, let me say this. Please do not sell your house. Please do not quit your job. And please do not put your entire net worth into one thing. I don't know who needed to hear that, because mathematically, I know there's someone out there who was like, I don't know who you are, but this is the legend that's floating around. Very popular news that apparently Changpeng Zhao changed his whole life by relinquishing everything that he owned and put it all into Bitcoin allegedly a decade ago. This all or nothing bet showcased his unwavering belief in the transformative potential of blockchain technology, setting the stage for his extraordinary ascent to the... Who wrote this sentence? Oh my gosh. Setting the stage for his extraordinary ascent to the pinnacle of the crypto world? Are you in love with him? Who wrote that sentence? That's a very intense sentence. Changpeng Zhao's decision to go all in on Bitcoin exemplifies the yada yada yada. Stark reminder, yada. And here's the tweet for it right here. It says, 10 years ago today, I quit my job, sold my house, and aped into hashtag Bitcoin. No, I am not saying you should do the same. Many people ask, how could you take such risks? Me, I knew I could easily get a job. No, there's a difference. There's a huge difference there. There's some type of what do you call it? There was just a news story about something similar to this. Have you ever seen those Instagrammers who were like, and I can't stand them. It's a merge between the what do you mean you're not making $200,000 per month, and also like the people who post videos like, why aren't you in Bali living your best life? And it's like, I got bills. Like I gotta work. Like I have stuff to do. I can't just freaking go to Bali. Like, you know, it's that kind of thing. I'm going to go out on a limb here. Unless he is completely insane, not one human being on this earth would do anything like that. I'm going to assume he did not put his entire net worth, because, I mean, was he sleeping on a friend's couch? Where did he go? If he, here's a good one. He had enough money to own a house, which means he already had money. So I could see in a scenario where this man was already making bukuda bucks. He already had a lot of money. He was like, you know what? I got $500,000 to sit on. And then he quit his job because he was tired of working there. He sold his house or one of his homes, because you can't sell your house and not live anywhere, and then put all of that money into this newfangled thing called Bitcoin while sitting on $500,000. I think it's meant to be something like, you know, mystical, like almost Satoshi Nakamoto-esque. It was like, whoa, that's crazy. And it's like, yeah, a little bit. Like it's actually a little bit crazy, because I find it very hard to believe that this man had no money after. Because also, if you think about it, a decade ago, Bitcoin's price was super low. It didn't really move up until around 4 years after that. So was he just sitting in a cardboard box somewhere for 4 years waiting for his Bitcoin to go up? Oh my gosh, you know, I have so much hope in these digital coins. This was major news. This was major news. I don't doubt it, but I think maybe the interwebs and the person who wrote this article definitely have inflated some parts about it. So cool. I'm glad to know that Changpeng Zhao has always been rich. I don't know what I'm supposed to really get from this story other than that he has money. But imagine, I can't imagine selling my home and being like, here we go, all in. Let's see what happens in the next decade. You know, this guy clearly had money from somewhere else. You also need money to be able to start a cryptocurrency exchange. I don't assume he was just like, well, I got $1 in a dream. Let's do this. Anyway, that's the Changpeng Zhao has probably always had money news. Good for him. Okay. Let's move on. Also in the news, the discount on Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust GBTC has continued to narrow as of the end of November, likely decreasing due to expectations because of spot ETFs. The discount on Grayscale's BTC net asset value has dropped to 8%. You might remember we had news last year. I think the Grayscale discount was around 50%. And then I think that quickly disappeared because the news is apparently a lot of institutions saw the discount, bought it back up. And then because of the recent news that we've been hearing about Grayscale having discussions with the US SEC, closed door discussions, fancy, that apparently, you know, there will probably be a premium on that at some point as well. But yeah, the discount continues to close, to get a lot smaller than it previously was before. This is just complete logic. There were always a couple of things within the cryptocurrency space. I don't know how crypto news is going to react once we finally have this news. It's always been, I mean, like literally, like since the beginning of time, XRP, Ripple, SEC news, and or ETF SEC news. So when we finally end the lawsuit between Ripple and the SEC and finally get multiple Bitcoin ETFs, I don't know what's the news going to be then? This is all the news has basically been. Like the SEC has dominated the news for the last 95 years. Anyway, that's the BlackRock money news. I don't know. Okay. Let's move on. Also in the news, a closely followed crypto analyst says that, here we go, close to $1 billion with a B dollars worth of Bitcoin, $1 billion worth of Bitcoin has been pulled from crypto exchanges in recent weeks as deep pocket investors are simultaneously stockpiling Ethereum and XRP. Crypto analyst Ali Martinez said on Twitter that market participants have been yanking large amounts of Bitcoin from crypto exchanges for the last 2 weeks. Can anyone tell me why this news is ridiculous? Anyone? Because we get news like this nearly on a daily basis that there's already a lot of Bitcoin being taken off of the exchanges. Like we have known for a while that the amount of Bitcoin and Ether being taken off of exchanges is absolutely maddening. For those of you who didn't see the video maybe 3 or 4 days ago, there was news that the amount of Bitcoin, or like percentage-wise, that's left on crypto exchanges has not been this low since the height of the bull market in 2017. Put that in your mind for a second. When Bitcoin reached that all-time high in 2017, around that time, that was the lowest amount of Bitcoin percentage-wise that was on exchanges. That's an all-time high metric, and we are there even before the halving. And now we're hearing that in the last 2 weeks, $1 billion worth of Bitcoin has been taken off of exchanges. 2 weeks. 2. Ali Martinez said around 25,000 Bitcoin have been withdrawn from known crypto exchange wallets in the last 2 weeks, worth nearly $1 billion US dollars. And then there's a little chart right there with numbers and signs and figures and stuff like that. Yeah, the news is, I guess, kind of linear, all going in the same general direction. It wonderful. I can't over, sideways state this enough. It is wonderful to finally be back in like a more optimistic world when it comes to the cryptocurrency space. I try to every now and again share stuff on Twitter with everyone, just, to get a general sentiment and see where everyone's going. And if I get good news and I'm not making a video, then I'll post it there and stuff like that. But I do not think that people are prepared for what's coming, and that's a good thing. Like, it's, nothing scary. Ooh, boogie boogie. It's more of a, like, I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised, and I say this in this way. I think that people are going to be surprised with how much money that they make, and I think it's actually going to scare them for a time, because people might not really know what to do with it. You have an idea in your head that you want to make money, but when you make that amount of money, sometimes you kind of freeze and you're like, this is a lot. This is a lot to deal with. So yes, as it stands right now, the price predictions are insane. People are expecting really big things for prices in the very near future. I swear to goodness, if we get to even 70,000 before the halving, it's going to be absolute madness. And it is, I'm completely here for it. I do sincerely hope that you have all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.